This video is for informational and entertainment purposes only and utilizes artificial intelligence, AI. The information provided may not always be accurate. For important decisions, consult experts or professionals.
Is it ethical to use gene editing to eliminate non-fatal conditions like severe shyness or chronic insecurity in future generations?
Hey everybody. Thanks for having me on Conversation with Aida. I'm glad to be here. Let me share a clear, friendly take on this, as if we're having a calm, thoughtful conversation over coffee. First, what do we mean by gene editing? The term usually refers to tools like CRISPR that let scientists change DNA at specific spots. Right now, most work is in labs and early medical trials. The big difference we need to keep in mind is editing somatic cells, treating an existing person's body, versus germline editing, changing eggs, sperm, or embryos so changes pass to future children. Your question is about using gene editing on embryos or germline cells to prevent traits like severe shyness. That would be germline editing. Two kinds of goals: therapy versus enhancement. Ethicists often separate two goals. Therapy, fixing a serious disease that causes suffering or death, like cystic fibrosis or sickle cell disease. Most people are more comfortable with this. Enhancement, trying to improve non-disease traits, bigger muscles, higher IQ, or in this case, less shyness or more confidence. That's where most ethical controversy lives. Severe shyness and chronic insecurity are usually considered psychological traits, not straightforward diseases. They can cause real suffering, but they're also shaped by culture, experience, and environment, not only genes. Main ethical issues, explained simply: 1. Consent and future persons. An embryo can't consent. If we edit genes that will affect a whole person's personality later, we're making irreversible choices for someone who can't agree or disagree. That raises ethical discomfort for many people. 2. What counts as a problem? Is shyness always a problem? Not necessarily. In some situations, shyness is harmless or even adaptive. Trying to eliminate it risks labeling normal variations of human personality as bad. That's a slippery slope toward narrowing what counts as an acceptable human life. 3. Identity and authenticity. A person's temperament and insecurities help shape who they are. If we engineer those away, are we changing the person's identity? Some people worry that engineered traits could feel less authentic to the person later on. 4. Unintended consequences. Genes rarely control a single trait. Changing genes to reduce shyness might affect other things: mood regulation, creativity, social sensitivity, in unpredictable ways. The science is still young. Unintended harms are possible. 5. Equity and social pressure. If such edits become available to richer people, social inequalities could widen. Also, even if the edits are optional, parents might feel pressured to choose them so their children won't be at a disadvantage. That pressure could reduce real choice and increase stigma against people who remain different. 6. Medicalization of normal traits. We risk turning normal human differences into medical problems to be fixed. That can reduce tolerance and diversity in society. 7. Benefit versus risk. For severe, clinically diagnosed conditions that lead to substantial harm, the benefit of gene editing might justify risks. For traits like shyness, benefits are less clear, and risks, scientific, social, ethical, may outweigh them. It's important to be fair. People who support editing non-fatal traits sometimes say, if a trait causes lifelong suffering or prevents someone from living the life they want, and we can safely reduce that suffering, maybe it's compassionate to act. If we can reduce mental health burdens across generations, that might benefit society. Parents already make many choices: education, environment, that shape personality. Gene editing could be seen as one more parental choice. Those are understandable concerns, but they don't solve the problems I listed, especially around consent, identity, inequality, and unknown harms. Ethical frameworks to weigh decisions. If you're wondering how to decide ethically, you can look at familiar moral rules. Do no harm, avoid creating new harms. Promote well-being, reduce suffering when we can. Respect autonomy. People should have a say in choices that affect them. Justice. Ensure fair access and avoid widening inequality. Applying these, using gene editing for clear, severe medical conditions, can sometimes satisfy these principles. Using it to eliminate normal personality traits stretches them in worrying ways. Practical considerations and safeguards. If society ever considers permitting germline edits for non-fatal traits, several safeguards would be essential. Strong scientific evidence showing predictable outcomes and no major off-target effects. Transparent public debate. Not just scientists and companies, but communities, ethicists, religious groups, and the public should weigh in. Regulation and oversight. Clear laws and international cooperation to prevent risky experiments and inequality. Alternatives prioritized. Psychological therapies, education, social programs, and supportive environments should be the first line for traits like shyness and insecurity. People with severe shyness or chronic insecurity benefit a lot from therapy, coaching, supportive communities, and sometimes medications. Investing in mental health services, anti-bullying programs, and reducing stigma can produce big benefits without changing DNA. Using gene editing to eliminate serious, well-defined medical conditions can be ethically defensible under strict conditions. But editing embryos to remove traits like shyness or insecurity, which are part of normal human variation, shaped strongly by environment and tied to identity, raises serious ethical red flags: consent, unpredictability, loss of diversity, social pressure, and inequality. For most of these reasons, it's ethically risky and should be approached with extreme caution, if not avoided, until we have much deeper societal conversations and far more scientific certainty. This doesn't mean we ignore suffering. We should expand access to mental health care, create kinder educational and work environments, and support people struggling with confidence. Those investments help in ways gene editing can't match. They preserve human diversity and respect individual autonomy. So, should we use gene editing to eliminate non-fatal traits like severe shyness or chronic insecurity? In short, not now, and probably not in the near future for most cases. Focus on treatment for clear medical needs, invest in social solutions, and have honest public conversations before even thinking about germline edits for personality traits. If you found this helpful, please like, share, and subscribe to Conversation with Aida. Share this episode with a friend who loves thoughtful debates. I'd love to keep the conversation going. Thanks for having me. And to everyone listening, take care of yourselves and each other.